Are you ready? No! No? It would be fun if we started, you're laughing, and I'm like a professional. Does that sound good?
Whatever.
Okay. Back to 1. I know things. Okay, ready? Set. What are you doing? Welcome to season 3!
Oh my god!
We're on video now. Isn't that how that works?
We just talk about how you don't know how video works. Oh my god! Okay, guys, we're back at season 3.
Yeah,
episode 1.
Yep.
We're visual now.
Mm-hmm.
We really felt the need to go visual.
Yeah, for a lot of reasons.
And it was definitely Adel here, who really, what is it now? Oh, Adel Emata. She's recently married, changed her last name. It's very sexy.
But she's
Tall
got skills.
Russian girls named Emata are always sexy, I guess.
But she's helped us like set up and like make it beautiful and professional. We're trying this out because obviously like a podcast about body positivity and like our physical experience of our body and our image and how we think about it ourselves. Like being able to show you what we look like and also to be able to do things. We talk a lot about like fashion and clothing. It's like, what's on my neck? Being able to actually like show you things, and eventually maybe we talked like years ago, way before we started the podcast.
Yeah, but
like,
this is exactly where you wanted to
doing makeovers. Yes, like bringing literally people in.
I don't know if I'm ready for the makeovers. She missed you. Let's be clear. Guru missed you guys. I'm still in the like.
Well, and so we can talk about why it's been 3 months since we've done an episode.
Yes, we should actually talk about, thank you, first of all, for all of you who wrote us, who talked to us, and everything else. We thank you so much for reaching out and asking us how we're doing, how everything's happening. But I don't know what's happening.
And so you like reached out and let us know you missed us and like thought about us. Like I was reticent to do a lot on the Instagram page. So basically we took a break because it ended up being a lot. This podcast is very much like a labor of love. Both of us feel extremely passionately about it, and we want to do it right. We want to make sure our head is in the right space. We want to make sure we're able. And it wasn't.
After our Hawaii trip, we really realized that we needed to do some of that self-care that we've talked to you guys about over and over again. Yeah. So we pulled back. I had started a new job, and everything was a little bit crazy, and we realized we just needed to get footing and figure out where we wanted to go with this, what we wanted to do, and it was super important. And so with the help of Adele and a few other people who reached out, we decided that visual is definitely the format that we need to go with.
We're going to go for video,
y'all. It just made me a little bit nervous, but it's exactly where we wanted to go in the beginning.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for your patience. We're back. We're hoping, we're going to still figure out the scheduling. We're still hoping for weekly episodes. Yeah. But again, that depends on whether bananification here can help us out weekly, because this setup, this did not just happen.
No, it didn't.
It did not just happen.
But hopefully you appreciate how gorgeous it is. I have my new pink highlighter hair. Tresla is
I miss her hair so
sporting
much.
this beautiful dress. We're trying to put an effort in because I'm telling you.
Do you need a compliment too?
No. Okay. You've been complimenting me all morning and it's lovely. I appreciate it.
Guru's back to pink, guys. I don't know if you noticed, but she went purple and then brown for a while. And
it was more purple.
I have a thing about hair. I have a weird thing about hair. I will always be that friend who worries about your hair. I am that person, and I'm very judgy about it.
When I go and get a haircut and she doesn't approve it, I know it.
You can't, I can't hide it. I don't hide it.
What did that person do to you? Did she not listen?
I'm not that bad.
Why?
I'm just like, why did that happen? Who did this to you? And it's always the same person. She keeps going back. Well, I think you do it low key to just like.
No, because I like it. Also, with curly hair, you can kind of get away with more because like there are no like jagged lines. It all just turns into a weird fluff ball. And that's fine. Why are we talking about our hair?
I don't know. Why should we talk about our hair?
The point is, we want to be back like sustainably, like regularly.
I love the word sustainably here.
So one thing that happens with my job, where it is, the amount, like the corporate lingo, it's not corporate, it's like the organizational lingo. Like they use the words toggle a lot. Like we have to toggle back and forth from one responsibility to another. We talk about the office. Oh my God, I was going to call it ecology. I hate it. Anyways, I'm using weird words. She works
at a college. It's very important.
That wasn't a brag, even though it sounds like it. I'm a piece of garbage. Just kidding.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
Do we need to find a sticker?
No.
You are worthy of your own love.
You're right. I've forgotten how to do this. I don't remember.
It has been a while, guys, so you're going to have to just bear with us because you wanted us back. And we wanted...
Don't blame them.
100%.
We made our own choices.
Yes, it's true. We did.
We wanted to be back.
We wanted to be back. I actually missed. I did miss what we do. The parts of this particular podcast that I miss the most is hearing from people and talking to them about whatever journey they're in, whether it's, I'm learning how to wear dresses, or I'm struggling with an eating disorder, or I just had a baby and I don't know who I am anymore, or hey, I'm interested in losing my virginity and I'm scared of my body and what I look like. Those are the stories, and those are the people that I really miss the most. I miss the compliments that we're constantly giving out, and yelling compliments at people.
Oh, that's still happening, by the way.
It's still happening.
Definitely do that on my own time.
I missed it sort of on a mass level, this. Yeah. I missed hearing from just other friends and the outreach that happened with it. We did an expo, actually. I was in charge of an expo.
That's right. Let's talk about that.
So, in what was it, April? About 4 weeks ago, we were at a health and wellness expo in Sherman Oaks. And we partnered with Everybody Deserves Love,
which is a really, really cool organization in Los Angeles.
501(c). Check them out on Instagram. It's either under EBDL or it's Everybody Deserves Love by Alexa Felice. Yeah. And one of the things that they do, they're a 501(c). They're a legitimate organization, but they have this idea, they have this concept in their mission statement is that everyone, no matter what body, no matter what shape you're in, no matter where you are deserving of love. And so when we got to be at the expo, mostly Guru handled that. Because
she was literally running the whole thing. It was a lot. And so she was a little busy. I understood that. But so we were in the midst of our podcast break, and I was like, I'm feeling weird, but I definitely want to put our name out and have conversations with people. Alexa had one of those spinny wheels. I love a spinny wheel. I'm ready to where it's a spinny wheel and there are prizes and there are things on it. And so literally showed up the day of and I was like, let's make this.
And we had little boards. And on the boards you got to, go ahead.
You wrote because we still wanted to be, we wanted our yes and I don't even remember what was on the board, but I am powerful. I am beautiful. We wanted an I am and a blank, and you write your own thing and you put your Instagram handle and you share it. And so all day, people were coming and spinning the wheel, and sometimes they would win a t-shirt, they would win a hat, they would stickers, they would get candy, whatever. But then we had a compliment party. And the compliment party is where I came in, where whoever came up, I gave them a compliment, and then they had to give themselves a compliment, and then I challenged them to give somebody else a compliment later that day.
And what happened if they couldn't give themselves a compliment?
So I just gave them a couple extra, or I had a little bucket of I had ready made some positive affirmation complimenty type things. And it was so cool to see the range of people because it was at a mall in Sherman Oaks. There were a lot of different age ranges. We had our senior moments where guy was uncomfortably unhappy with the music that was playing, and he was like, none of this garbage, none of this rap garbage. I listen to classical music. I was like, tell me how you're happy with your body, sir. It was, we had our moments. It was weird, but I wanted to cry every time a child came up, and there was a lot of kids under 10. They were with their families and just trying to get as much free stuff as they could get. And then they wandered up to our table, and I was like, tell me how awesome you are. Tell me what you feel good about. And these kids who, when you're unless you're a very special child, having a stranger shriek at you about how great you are is a lot, and I get that. But seeing them figure it out and seeing the parents watch them and having them if they couldn't come up with a compliment, I told them one and then they had to repeat it to themselves so that they just could get that practice. And it was so gorgeous, and I got some pictures for Instagram.
She came. I was holding the event. She came out that day to help with the event, but she also had the table to man with EBDL. They had partnered together, and I had situated them by the ninja gyms. There would be a lot of foot traffic there, but she didn't want to leave the table at any moment because it was just they were the most poppin' table, I'd say,
for sure,
at the whole expo. They were the most poppin' table.
You think I'm loud? Alexa is also loud.
Alexa Felice is next level loud. Yes. She is larger than life. I remember I brought her into the office once and my boss at the time was very much I can see why you were using her. And I'm like, she's dynamic.
Charisma. Yeah.
Yes. Charisma is actually the better word.
Right?
She's dynamic. She has a lot of charisma. You guys should definitely check her out because she really does love and mean what she says. And that's very important in this industry of change.
And we have been to one of her body positive beach days. I'm sure there will be more.
There's another one coming up very soon, actually.
And so, like, you've seen pictures from those. She also has Kristen, and I don't remember her Instagram at this moment. We're gonna have to share it. Really came and does like a lot of really gorgeous
body glitter.
And so she did that, and it was amazing. But anyways, we shared that because it was so exciting, and it like reminded me. Kristen Plus, she's fabulous. I love her pink hair. We're on the same level. It just reminded me of how much the reason I'm doing this is to have those moments with people where I encourage somebody that maybe is like quiet and shut down and doesn't think about feeling really like happy and positive with exactly who they are right now. Even if there's like a 7-year-old who like, hopefully they don't have any body issues. They're just learning how to literally run around and exist in the world because they're starting to grow. But recognizing like the fact that I'm funny, that I'm weird, that maybe I'm tall, that maybe I'm good at sports, maybe I'm better at drawing, maybe I'm super smart. Like you're beginning that process of recognizing what makes you rad and yourself. Like I want to be there for that and encourage it and like yell about it.
I feel like it also acknowledges that you're seen.
Yeah.
Like being seen is such what did they say in when they were making The Incredibles? The reason Violet was invisible is because almost every teenage girl sort of has that moment where they want to be invisible, right? And so this is a moment where we're actually seeing you for what it is that you are, what it is that you bring to the table.
You don't need to hide nothing.
You don't have to hide, and you can't hide with Guru and Alexa. It's just not something you can do. And so I walked in at some weird points. One of them, the child made their parent do it, and the parent was more uncomfortable than the child giving themselves the compliment. So it was like this moment of like, oh, okay. It was very fun to watch and have the parent react so emotionally that causes the child to realize that this is a thing, and then they react emotionally. And it was like this moment of togetherness to realize, holy crap, I need to be validated in this world. The second was walking into a new game that Guru and Alexa have put together. I call it the compliment off. And the two of them were yelling and shouting. I thought something was wrong. They were shouting compliments at each other. It was what? What's
I think we need to
I can't do it.
We gotta do it.
I can't do it.
At least
hard. Okay.
Give me.
Okay. What's that? Okay.
Okay.
No.
Tresla, your hair looks so good today. No, honestly, those curls, that's like Sofia Vergara level, like NBC level curl in your hair.
Okay, your eyes are gorgeous.
Thank you.
Your eyes are very pretty.
Thank you.
I really like it.
Your
But
eyelashes.
you and Alexa were shouting, like, your eyes are pretty.
I'm trying to meet you where you're at, so I'm not just screeching at you.
I'm guarded. I'm very guarded. I'm going through some stuff.
Okay.
So it was just like this compliment of like that, except it was more like, your eyes are pretty. Well, your lips are good. Blah, 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 blah.
Neither of us have any problems shouting
They
at
had
each
no
other.
problems shouting compliments at each other. They were absorbing it. There was no point where there was just like a compliment that ricocheted off of them. It was fully absorbed and then yelled back with the same energy. And it was like an acting exercise that I've seen in acting classes it was extraordinary.
It was like zip, zap, zap, but so much better.
If you guys have multiple children who are fighting, this would be a fantastic parenting game where you sit in a room and you make them yell compliments at each other and until they're both just dying of laughter.
Right. Because it's contagious. Like, you can't be around that without it starting to, like, catch and swell and, like, make the room a lighter, happier, bubblier place. I like the idea of, like, you're trying to go out, and you're, like, not feeling what you're wearing and you're weird. You and your girlfriend, whatever you're doing, your friend, your buddy, whoever you're going out with.
It's really restoring.
Do a little compliment off. It feels good.
And it also allows that energy to sort of come out of the body and be allocated to something else. So what's happened in the last 4 months has been this sort of just whirlwind of events. And I know that every time we talk to you guys, we're in a whirlwind of events, but that's because we're making changes. It's because we're not just sitting still and hiding. We're out there actively trying to, like, get into this world and make changes and make a difference. And so with that, everything will always be a whirlwind. But in this, when you're trying to make these changes, one of the things you want to really recognize is that you can always yell at someone. You can be mad at them. You are pretty. How dare you talk about yourself this way? you need to, again, this is changing the way you talk, changing the negative self-talk, the stuff we've talked about before. It's the way you present this information to the other person and the way that they receive it totally changes the dynamic. So having it like this whole, you could get your kids in trouble and be like, you need to stop yelling at each other, or encourage them to yell the right things at each other.
If you need to yell because you got a lot of anxious energy,
you are so pretty!
Right? Right?
I'm so jealous of your hair.
Right.
Like, I am. I know Guru doesn't see it, but she shows up and I'm always so freaking jealous every time she shows up. She doesn't understand it. It's a thing. I'm working through it. It's fine. Okay.
So we have some other things we wanted to talk about. We can talk about where we want to go in the future, or we can talk about like my personal stuff that I've been like trying to figure out at work. Oh my God, guys, you guys have to hear about let's talk about that, because with times being tough and literally every one of our friends are going through some things, I like the idea of talking about encouraging, but also hearing where it's going. So we talk about this whirlwind that we've been through. Guru, so she works at UCLA, and which I really, really love.
And she's been on a journey with this body positivity movement in a way that a lot of us don't get to get in there and be. So here,
one of the big reasons that I applied for a job at a university was the opportunity to be a part of like education and like progress and improvement. There are like working in a community mental health setting. It's about like managing the problems and managing symptoms on whatever scale, whether it's in families or individuals or groups or whatever. With being in a college across the country, the need for mental health services is rising at every single college in the world, but especially in the US. And so every single college campus is trying to manage how distressed people are, how many more services they need. And I believe that as a world, we're kind of in more distress with like all the global stuff happening, like climate and war and terrible things. Like, we're all aware of this so much more, and I think that's part of it, that we hear about it, and so we have to deal with it, and that's really scary and distressing. So college students that are coming into this giant change in their life are having to figure out, what is my place, where is my future, do I have a job, do I know what I want? Like, it's a really intense time, and it was very important to me to be able to work with people in that juncture. Whether you're like a non-traditional student and you're doing this later on in life, you're still struggling with that. How am I attacking the future? What am I trying to do here? And so along with that one-on-one work that I get to do, there also is this huge push for like education and prevention and figuring out how to make changes on a larger scale, because we just don't have the resources to like help every single person. We can't. You have to handle it. And so one of the things that I got to sit in on, because there is, surprise, in college campuses, there's all sorts of eating disorders. There's all sorts of like unhealthy and disordered eating, and it's the sororities and fraternities, and it's the athletes, and literally everybody. It's the anxious people and the people like this. There is no limit to who is affected by like body image issues and disordered eating. And I noticed that at our particular campus, all of the people on the eating disorder team are very thin people, and so I just started having these thoughts of like, hey man, anytime I was sitting in a room with a student who talked about any sort of like weight issues and anything like that, I was starting to like think about how they saw me and how I saw them, and does it make a difference? And if it's like a super thin person that's really actively in their eating disorder, am I creating anxiety? Am I making them feel better because I'm like chill and cool with it? Like, it's a whole thing. So starting to figure out my place. But so I decided I wanted to get into that team. I'm going to do my best to be in those meetings, to be talking to those people, to be participating, because this is the thing I am most passionate about in the world, is like working with body image and fat acceptance and body positivity, all of those beautiful
at the
words.
Crossroads. At this crossroads where you are now trying to figure out how to define yourself.
Yes.
And that's something that I noticed about the two of us. One of the reasons why this works so well is because at the crossroads, you and I tend to meet right there at a pivotal point in your life, whether it's, you know, how you're dressing or what you're wanting to do or where you're wanting to go in your life. We always seem to meet right there.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because you were talking about being in that millennial age. You guys have to, for those of you who listen who are part of an older crowd, you have to understand that this particular generation is under the same sort of stress that you guys were under, but there's more. Image is literally everything. And it's not just enough now to dress well or present well. You now need to have the amount of followers you have Now, on job applications, even right now, if you were to go online, try to fill out a job application, one of the first things you'll notice is some of them will ask how many Instagram and Twitter followers you have.
And especially if you're in any sort of marketing, if you're in any like production creation stuff.
If you want to do anything creative, you have to have started when you were like 7 now, it feels like. And so these kids have a whole new gambit of things to compare themselves to that they've never had before, that we don't understand. And parents are always like, why are you on your phone? And it's because that literally means success for their future. If they do not exist, they don't exist. And everything about their life is harder. And so I want to sort of put that in your ear as an understanding that you are now not only presented well as a human being, you now must create your own marketing as a human being to move forward. And
maintain it.
And so now these people who are, butt models, you don't know what they've been through. I told you I worked in the fitness industry. You don't know what these people, have they starved themselves for 12 hours to make sure that they had that 8-pack foresight? You don't know, but that's how it's being presented with photo editing and everything. And so now you have these people coming in a guru's office and the campus saying, I'm not measuring up. There's obviously way more to it, but a lot of that. And so part of that also starts at a younger age in the medical office.
Oh, girl. So I got to go I took a meandering, and so you brought me around, and I appreciate that. So I got to, as part of being in this like group of people that is working within eating disorders as a specialty, we were doing a presentation. The mental health part was doing a presentation to the medical clinic at the campus, and we were getting to talk to the doctors and nurses, the people literally providing medical care, about body acceptance and body positivity. And it was really basic stuff. It was done really well because there was a licensed dietitian and a licensed psychotherapist presenting this information that I was learning about like years ago, but is brand new and frankly kind of revolutionary to the medical field. This idea of, and I was telling Trey, because it brought up a lot, and as it should.
And you're learning how to speak up.
Right. And also, like, I'm very new to the clinic. I don't have, like, a lot of my experiences in I don't feel like I have, like, I have a lot of personal experience in body positivity and fat activism. I don't have any, like, certificates, and, like, I don't have a lot that I can put on my resume. And so I want to balance the way I, like, speak up and, like, no pun intended, throw my weight around. I need to be careful with that. So, but it was this really cool thing. And just to find, like, they did this talk, and it was about being in your body and about how it works. And they talked a little bit about health at every size, which if you don't know about health at every size, there's some incredible books. I believe she's a doctor, but Linda Bacon has written all these cool things. And it's this idea of literally just like making sure your body is functioning as well as it can at any size. It's not about weight loss. It's about health and movement. So they do all this cool stuff, but they presented it very like gently, very clinically, because we also have to get the buy-in of these medical doctors.
What do you mean they presented it?
They presented it very gently. Like it was very like sweet and so they presented it very gently and very clearly and with some good PowerPoints. I'm sitting in this chair trying not to stand up and go, listen, you fucking assholes. Let me tell you about, like having all these, like,
Wait, what caused that?
Feelings.
Sorry. You've jumped. Like, what happened in the presentation that caused you?
So they were talking about the idea of, for example, needing to take weight at every single visit. If I come in for a yearly physical, or also when I come in because my throat is sore, I'm worried it's strep, you don't necessarily need my weight. My weight has nothing to do with what might be strep throat. My weight every time when I come in to get the flu shot, don't take my weight. It doesn't matter. The idea of what information you're taking, the fact that at the clinic there on campus, and I'm sure this is true of many clinics that are trying to like manage space and resources, the scale is in a very public place. It's like sitting and there are people walking past hallways. And
it's
if you are somebody,
in a public place.
Right. And if you are somebody that's very, like, I kind of gave up caring about that a long time ago. I don't own a scale at home. It doesn't help me. It makes me feel stressed. And so I just don't bother. I do have that moment where I worry and it makes me feel bad, but nothing that's going to like ruin my whole day. But if you are somebody that is very stressed and very worried about that, that's going to keep you out of the doctor's office. But it also is maybe going to make you feel guilty and set you up for feeling less confident to advocate for your other medical needs. And so this idea of being mindful of how we're talking about people's body, because it is a crazy epidemic, the medical, like the bias against people that have any different bodies, and this happens on both sides of the scale. For overweight people, there's this assumption that they are less healthy, lazy, or more out of control. These are literally documented studies.
I work out more than a lot of people
right.
I know.
But it's also on the other spectrum when people are exceptionally skinny or naturally thin. The doctors are not looking for the same things, and those people can also have high blood pressure, diabetes, all of the same things that we associate with being overweight. So the weight bias applies to a lot of people. Size bias is a problem for everybody. And so it's this idea of getting the buy-in from the physicians to start thinking more critically about what the information they're asking for is and how they are getting that information and how that might affect their patient.
And how to speak up as a patient. I assumed that was how do we get was that the whole goal of that, was how do we get the patients to speak up?
No, it was how to listen better and pay more attention as a physician. Because we're talking to the physicians.
So again, what made you so mad?
So at the end of the talk, as the physicians were kind of having this discussion of, well, we have to it was the discussion around telling people how to lose weight and that they needed to lose weight and how important that is to have in every
Okay, so that's what the doctors in the audience, if you will, were like, well, they need to lose weight.
They need to. We know that it's this problem and we know it's going to lead to this, and I have to let them know of these health risks. And so I got so mad at this idea that you think as a physician of an adult at any age level, but for me, by the age of 13, I was already having many, many doctors tell me that I needed to lose weight, that I needed to focus on it. I was already hella stressed. And so the fact that you think this is new information made me want to flip a table. I was like, you have now destroyed whatever rapport you may have set up by prioritizing this thing that you think is important over what I think is important. If I have come in with one question and you go, okay, sure, fine, whatever, we'll deal with that. But then also, here's the same thing that people have been throwing in your face for your whole life, that you need to lose weight, that you need to, calories in, calories out, exercise more. I'm aware. I know. I got it. What I don't know, what was new information in the room, was how, for instance, birth control pills are dosed for people that weigh 120 pounds.
Or that Plan B.
So Plan B does not work
if you're over 175 pounds.
No, it straight up is no longer reliable. And nobody has ever told me that. I learned that shit in this presentation and then on Shrill on TV. No medical professional of whom I've spoken.
But those same professionals will happily tell you need to lose weight.
Sure. So, and what I wanted to say and what I didn't, and that I'm working on that, is this idea of please know that you're not the first person to have this conversation. Please know that if you think about what you are trying to communicate, if you're just trying to tell me to lose weight because it's easier on my joints, I got it. I understand how gravity works. But definitely because there was one particular nurse practitioner that was like, well, I bring it up in this context and they need to know how the hormones work and whatever. And I was like, fucking thank you. That's great. I love that. So okay,
I have questions. Yes. And maybe that'll help here. So my question is, most people who have been in this position, they've been overweight, they've been, they've been shamed. They could be pure muscle and huge and and pure muscle.
We all know those Olympic level weightlifters.
They work out 100 jillion times a week. That's a number, I promise. And they're eating correctly and they're on their journey, and you come in and you don't know because you haven't seen them. It's their yearly physical. And so you don't know that they're on this journey. They may have started 3 or 4 days ago and they're on whatever journey to their health that they want to be on. So in the circumstances it comes up. Here's the thing. I'm going to say 97% of this time it does come up. And it's not informative. That's what I really want doctors to understand. Yeah. What you're doing is shaming. It's not informative. If you were just to give us information and say, listen, I feel that, just as a doctor, I have to tell you this. I feel it's important. I know that you probably have already been through this. If you have questions, come find me. And let it be. There is a way to do this that is nice and not so clinical. Yeah. That is consistent. So what does...
Not rolling. Oh, no. For how long? Sure.
So, turns out, folks, when you run out of space on your memory card, you gotta start over.
So, there might be a weird jump cut.
Enjoy our jump cut.
It's cool.
Wait, we're gonna do this. Let's pause. Ready, set. Jump cut.
Technical difficulties.
You guys are so lucky you have us.
Yes.
So, okay, back to the serious topic at hand.
Serious question.
Here's my question. So, one of the things you said in sort of your delivery is that people will find themselves in a medical office, say to talk about, hey, I'm having problems with my stomach and it hurts really bad. And it's been like keeping them up at night, or it could just be like a sore, like a cyst or something on their arm. And they go in and they want to talk about what's happening here. And then the doctor focuses completely on weight. Okay. So you find yourself in that circumstance as someone who you openly have said that there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of nervousness. We've all had to experience this. How do you get your doctor back on topic? What can you do? Obviously we can't change other people. We've talked about that. What can we do? Did anything come up in these discussions, these meetings? What can we do to sort of empower ourselves to sort of push through this idea?
I have answers to that.
Okay.
So literally, because we can't like change the system, and your doctor may or may not, like the levels of nonsense are variable. And so you have to be able to manage your own anxiety to make sure, because what that did for me when I was younger is it activated the shame of, I know that I am doing things wrong. I'm failing at losing weight. I'm a lazy person. I'm a terrible person.
That. It makes you feel like a failure.
It immediately reminds you of like,
how you're not measuring up.
And you're having this authority figure tell you, if only you could get
in front of your parents.
Right. So,
because we always loved them at 13.
Girl. It activates all of that, and so you shut down, and so you feel, like I said, much less prepared and able to like advocate for yourself. So it's about figuring out what you can do, whether that is bringing a buddy, bringing a written list of questions, taking a moment, hearing it, recognizing all the shitty thoughts you have about yourself, and then coming back to what you want. Because the short answer is you keep asking about what you need. You keep saying, okay, I got it. Thanks for that. But what I'm here for is this giant oozing wound on my arm. Can you help me with that? Right? Like, that's what it is. You just have to keep asking the question. And if that doctor won't help you, ask for another doctor.
I have had that happen. Yes. And it has been, so I had, the medical system isn't always great. We don't always, we're not a good chunk of us are not the 1%ers in this country. And so with that, you have to realize these, with the care that you have, the doctor may have allocated 15 minutes to help resolve your problem, get in and get out. And that's something that I want to, on this end of things, help you keep in mind. You have 15 minutes to sort of get this giant problem that's a huge part of your life resolved. And what they might do, depending on your insurance, is send you out for an x-ray before they can even tell you that your arm is broken. If you think your arm is broken, go to the ER or an urgent care. Do not go to your normal doctor. They can't, if they don't have x-ray machines or the equipment in the office, they're going to send you away. And it's not going to get resolved for like 12 weeks. So keep in mind that the problem it may have come up overnight. It's going to take longer. Yeah. The other thing is if the doctor yells at you, like the doctor has yelled at me before, you clearly state what you came for. You clearly state it, and you are free to leave the room. I want to remind you that you do not lose power in these situations, because you feel so powerless when you need something. When you are needing something and you are in any part of your life, when you need something and you're going to someone for help, you can feel the sense of powerless. Extremely like, this vulnerable. Person has my answers, and if they don't give it to me, what am I going to do? Feel free to complain. Yeah. I mean,
every doctor is licensed by a board. In California, it's this California Board of it's the medical board.
Yes.
And in every doctor's office, they are legally required to list the number so you can call and wage your complaints. You have that right, especially if somebody is actively yelling at you and making you feel terrible.
It is important to say something, because and here's
if you can't in the room.
If you can't in the room and you're struggling, find a way to empower yourself. And it might be the smallest amount of power, but doing what is right in the moments when everything is wrong. Okay? And that happens to us in any part of our life. In the moments that everything is wrong, you need to do what is right and true and honest to you. That is how you empower yourself. That is how you look back on a circumstance with little regret.
Yeah.
That is how you will then find your voice, because in that moment you did and you took care of yourself in a way that the doctors haven't.
Right.
Also, going back to that 15 minutes, when you're in there, realize that if you have avoided the doctor for a year because you didn't want to get on that scale, the reason they have, so the doctor explained it to me once. They said, we don't let you, we need the scale if we dose out medicine. So this is what I say. I walk in, I go, I'm skipping that today. And it's always the nurse who takes it, and the nurse will give you, I'm skipping it, but if you dose me medicine, I'll be happy to get on the scale.
There you go.
That is a very important way to empower yourself, because they do. They're putting chemicals in your body. Sure. It is a science. They have studied it. That's a good enough reason. Usually they have like a weight range with these antibiotics, like amoxicillin, 10 days, 500 milligrams twice a day. It's a pretty simple thing for them, not for us. And under those circumstances, they don't usually. But you can also remember, we've talked a lot about numbers not ruling your life this way. One of the things that you can do if you're not ready for it, it's one of those scales that they have on the ground that they use for like babies and baby strollers and stuff like that, and some medical institutions only use that, turn around. Don't look at the number. Yeah. Empower yourself if you really believe that you are not defined by a number. And I'm not saying don't acknowledge your weight, because I believe that you look in the mirror and you know what you need. Okay? That being said, you're not in denial by any means, but if this number is going to now govern your life at every single turn, if this thing is going to hurt you, then you need to do what is, again, empowering and right for you. So
turn around and let the nurse know, I don't need to know the number.
And this is someone who has been to, I was in multiple car accidents. I had to learn how to walk again. I was in circumstances where I was shamed. Like, well, if you just let, and I'm like, you know what? Why didn't I think of that? Oh shit. Like, that is why I'm at the gym every day and eating better than you. And also, have you looked in the mirror? Like, you get really petty and angry. This is why
it's hurtful.
It's so hurtful, especially when they're talking about birth control, especially when they talk about ovarian, I remember.
So COPD, it's not COPD. What is it?
PCOS?
Polycystic
ovary system. So there are things that you need to, there are definitely things that you need to look at and be aware that as your body is changing, these things it's possible that can exist in your body. Yeah. If it's not healthy. And so be prepared for that information. Take the time. Don't be ignorant.
Sure.
About what it is that you're going through.
Because you want to make educated choices.
You do.
It's ultimately up to you what you are doing, but have the information. And so if it's a matter of finding the right doctor, talking to the nurse more than the doctor, the nurses usually have more time. Don't be afraid to either remove yourself from a situation if it's really making you feel that terrible, or advocate and ask for somebody else.
Finding a doctor should be a lot more like finding that perfect black dress or the perfect pair of jeans. It rarely happens overnight. Yeah. It's a rarity if you get it. If you look at finding your medical professionals, these people that sort of fit you it's a lot like dating in Los Angeles. A lot of swiping, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and it is exhausting, and so much trust, so much vulnerability, and this person's probably going to see your vagina at some point. Like, it is true. If you will parallel the experience of something like that and stating what you need, you can then empower yourself all over your life. And so one of the things I want to say is that our dear friend Shabd here is is there. She's on the front. She is in her own way on the front lines, presenting herself, speaking up. She's learning how to speak up.
Well, and trust me that in that room, I was certainly the biggest person in the room, but one of maybe in a group of 25 people, one of 3 or 4 very visibly overweight people. And so that activates again my anxiety of I'm going to raise my hand and complain and yell about being fat, and that makes I get self-conscious about that. And I don't want them to assume that I am lazy, non-compliant, a brat about this. It's not that I'm asking for an excuse. I'm asking for you to respect me as a person. And that's ultimately what this is about. A doctor that is respecting you and cares as a person is not going to make you feel shitty for asking questions. It's not going to make you feel shitty for refusing something that makes you uncomfortable.
As long as you clamp your mouth and not talk about it. As long as you just shut down and you're I'm just going to deal with it and move on. It's only an hour of my life or the blah, 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 blah. It's going to continue. This world will continue to be this way. Yeah. You don't make that change without sort of disrupting the system. Yeah. And there are consequences, but there are also bigger picture. If you're a bigger picture thinker like me, where you're I could be making this change to that's why you disrupt the system. That's why you say, hey, the way you're talking to me isn't okay. Yeah. That is why, if you really were to treat this like dating and someone came in you and they kept treating it and you never said anything, that's also on you. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think sucks so much when you're in these positions, is suddenly you realize, I didn't do anything. I could have, or that retort that you wish you would have said.
Yeah, you think later.
You think later, oh, I could have. Oh, I could have. Right? Oh, I forgot. This is how you need, this is why getting to know yourself, recognizing who you are is so important, because when you do, you'll know when to say something, you'll know when to forgive yourself, you'll know when to start letting go. And that's one of the things that I think that Guru and I had really gone through in the last 4 months, is this idea of when to let go, when to hold on, when to be mad, what to advocate for. I mean, we have been pulled in so many different directions, the two of us. I know that I spoke up, and I was very punished for it, and it was very painful. But at the same time, if I hadn't, I would have hurt myself. Yeah. And so this is one of those things. So Guru is on. That's one of the reasons we also disappeared, is because she's on the forefront. She's making money moves, guys. She's working in these. We've been at expos. Yeah. We're trying to be more in the public eye again. This is again one of the things.
Figuring out how to do that.
I think one of the ways that you can really sort of I know our podcast, people say, where you guys are friendly and it's hanging out. But I think seeing us, I think there's a visual impact in seeing what we are and who we represent. I know we talk a lot about how I'm constantly on the cusp of nutrition and exercise and trying to do anything I can to help it's nice to see that we're just like you in so many ways, just trying to make a change and a dent in this world. And so I honestly, that's what we're doing. Where people show up at their crossroads and they come to us, and then sometimes they join us on our journey, and other times we say, enjoy your life. Thank you so much for coming in. And it has been incredible, the amount of kids that we've seen. I think I was talking to a 12-year-old the other day who just said, I just think I'm so ugly. And I sat there looking at her going, how is this possible? You're beautiful. And this is the world we live in. And I want to, I guess I'm with Alexa. Everybody deserves a certain amount of love.
That's 100% the whole point here. And I was having so many other thoughts, in this idea of a 12-year-old who is struggling and feels ugly and unworthy. The social situation we have set up, every 12-year-old is so mean to each other. School is such a scary place. I remember being there. There is no safety. Your peers, and that's what that's for developmentally. You're learning how to be a person and exist within a community, and you learn the in-group and the out-group and how to behave and how to watch yourself and how to not.
How to network.
That's the point. And so some people can do it less cruelly than others. Some people's experience are a lot worse. But it's this idea of generating that internal self-confidence. So even though that mean kid in your class is telling you that you're ugly, or your hair is stupid, or your face is whatever, that you have that recognition of, I am still a worthwhile person. And even if it's true, I'm going through puberty and my acne is crazy and I feel really self-conscious and my limbs are growing and I don't know how to do it.
Or I have pre-braces, right? Or God, do you remember all the things?
It's so many things.
And this is
you're learning how to
when parents say to their kids, it's easy, you just do this. It's not easy, because it wasn't easy for you. No kid has it easy. No one's journey is easy. You guys, you don't have to be. You
nice
choose to be respectful of what someone else is going through, and don't expect other people to just be respectful of you. Acknowledge those who are and dismiss those who aren't.
Well, and my personal goal in any situation is if you are in that experience where you're feeling shitty about yourself, I want to be that voice that reminds you that you're still lovable and awesome and amazing. In any situation, I want to be a source and a reminder that you deserve love, you deserve respect, you deserve to be gentle and kind to yourself. You don't deserve to have somebody disrespect you. That is 100% my goal on every level, whether it's speaking to one-on-one a patient, working with friends. I want our Instagram to be that. I want my Instagram to be that. I want to eventually be able to do classes and groups and workshops.
I do. I definitely want to start working with people more one-on-one. We have people who write us in, there's one listener, she wrote me and she talked about how she just wished she had confidence to wear a dress. And I had her send me a picture, and I'm going to tell you, she's knockout. She's gorgeous. She knows who she is, and I know she's listening. But if any of you are struggling with it, realize you're not alone in this journey. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why we're sitting in front of a camera, because we had the moment where we're do we put ourselves out there? But at the same time, it's the idea that you're not alone anymore. That you have someone watching out for you. It's not even watching out for you. You have someone in your corner who gets it, who wants to talk about it, who wants it to just be a better place, who's not taking one strict side of this and not another strict side. And it's very much We need to learn how to make this world a better place by learning how to respect each other, listen to ourselves, listening to what our needs are, what we have to do. And by doing that, by recognizing who we are, we can also recognize the good in other people, which is a whole thing that I'm going through.
Because you guys hurt people. Oh like, my God. If we had a little bit more skill in like managing our own, it's true.
Love it. I'm gonna think about it.
I did not generate that. I just want to that's the thing that I've heard many times.
You don't have to hurt people. I just like saying
people,
it.
Hurt people.
How do I spell people? People.
I'm just gonna, why did I think you were gonna ask me how to spell hurt?
I'm just gonna put like a math sign times 2 squared.
Hurt people squared. That's not the vibe we want to. So, are we ending on a
I don't
good
feel
note?
like we're ending because I have a couple more questions for you, and I would like to end on a more positive note.
I was going to say that.
I was like, we did the self-empowerment, so we have a couple of topics here, okay? And I want to end on something fun. The first one we discussed is why we were gone. Second is what to do in the medical situation that you might be under. We also addressed that we have Adel Emata here who has offered to start filming us because she really believes in what's happening and she's amazing. We love her so much.
She's taking us to the next level.
Oh my gosh. And then number 3. So we have a couple options. We can talk about self-care, which we are always great at, and these little beautiful stickers that we've got laying around that Guru has found, I guess, on campus.
Yeah.
Or we can talk about beach season coming up.
Okay.
And bikinis. Or we can talk about right now encouraging, because every one of our friends are going through something. And I don't know, we're putting this out there because it seems like everyone, including me, is going through some major transition damage.
The struggle is real.
Except that this time I have been more supported and more loved because a lot of what's happening here, because I have chosen to recognize who I am and the things that I want to do. And I've put that out there. And by doing that, it's not that opportunity is coming. It's that the bad is sort of like, what do you call it? Exoskeleton is falling off. Is that gross? Exoskeleton's falling. Like, I'm shedding my skin.
Okay.
It's getting gross.
It is gross. Because all I can think of is the word slough, where you're sloughing something off.
Or like the locusts. Remember those little shells you used to find?
So giant.
Here, Mom, I got you
cicadas.
Something.
Oh, Lord.
Happy Mother's Day.
Okay, so you're releasing. You're letting go of.
It's like it has to come off in order for you to renew yourself. And it's like, not so much the caterpillar butterfly thing, because you're not housed in the struggle.
Shedding its skin, or a crab.
I hate it so much.
Crabs or lobsters. All of the things that shed exoskeleton.
Okay, it's like no.
Sorry.
No, it's like you still have to exist in the world. I guess a locust would be the best one. You still have to exist in this world. You still have to go out there. You still have to be a part of it. But then when you realize that something isn't serving you anymore, or it doesn't work out, you have to leave that behind, that sort of shell.
Even if it's painful.
And it's so painful, and it's still in the form of who you are, right? It's still shaped like you, but it is a ghost of what you used to be. Oh my God,
metaphor! Oh my God.
Just moving on into like a brand new you. It's very, and it looks the same, and it acts the same, but it doesn't feel the same. And you're
relearning.
And you have to relearn
all the
and
same
everything's super sensitive too, because it's like new. So it's one of those things that I'm going through. One of the things that's happened is I didn't realize how incredible it is to have the kind of support system that I have not had in such a long time. I'm going through some really hard times, and it has been, and I don't want to talk about it, sorry, but it has been magnificently beautiful to see people that I had no idea how amazing they were until the last few weeks. And it's been, as sad as it is, it's been so incredible, and I'm so blessed that I'm going to be, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm going somewhere, and I know it has something to do with you guys. I'm just gonna say, I don't know which camera I'm looking at. One of you guys. I know that it's about you. I know because while Guru is part of the medical, I'm part of that push. She's, I'm.
You're part of like the energy behind it. Like I don't want to minimize it.
I understand where the big picture is going.
Yeah.
And she understands where you are at this moment.
She's like the organization and the like The vision.
I'm the vision. I can get it going. I can make it happen. I can create the space for you, the sense of community. These are the things that I do. I can send you on your quest, ask you the questions that you need to answer. I won't solve it for you. And Guru is this like loving, like beautiful, nurturing person. And between the two of us, I don't know where we're going, but I'm very excited about it.
Some good skills, y'all.
And so my encouragement for this week would be life may suck right now and you may be in the midst of it. You're not going to be there forever. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be there forever. And one of my old professors said, you need to enjoy the shit just as much because that shit's going to teach you something.
Oh, snap.
And so
that's really hard to do.
It's so
like we recognize that is
to be
miserable.
In the depths of something that feels like quicksand and rot and awful. But that is the part where if you can just hold on just a little bit longer, as you will, you can push through to something that you couldn't even know existed.
And within that, because I feel like I'm in the process of like learning new skills to manage. Like I'm in a transition, much less painful one. But I'm just like, literally, it's like you're talking about like learning a new exoskeleton. I feel like I have like a new robot. Like, what is it, Voltron? I'm in a new Voltron, y'all, and I have to like relearn this stuff.
I don't know if you guys noticed her. She's like she's a whole new person. She's a new car, tattoo. I'm sorry, no. I know it's an announcement. Her Shakti energy,
my Shakti power
is all like out in the open and
don't do that.
It's just like where?
It's to remind me to be powerful and to like take care of business. No, I won't, and it's fine. No, but it's like learning, so when you're in that shit and it's terrible, don't be afraid to like ask for help. Don't be afraid to tell other people that it's shitty. And that's something that comes up like as a friend that is like when you watch somebody else struggle and are suffering, it sucks to not be able to like, ding, like let me fix that for you. And we've talked about this before, but having somebody witness and like be there with you, if you can't fix it, if you can't add any great ideas, recognizing I see that it's shitty, I'm hopeful for you. I love you anyways. Like, I'm here for you. Ask for that shit.
She is a fixer. We're both fixers, but we're fixers in different ways. But here's the difference. I'm one of those like very strong, like, oh, you'll get through it. That's what people say to me all the time. You'll get through it. You're a strong woman. I can't see you staying there very, very long. But while you're strong people who are sinking it's like Terry Crews trying to doggy paddle. It is just like, right? So we're in this situation and we're looking for lifelines and strong people. You have to be present in yourself too. I know that you see what you're going through. I know that that's a thing. What we're looking for, and I'm just going to say this across the board, is we're looking not for our friends who are less strong or who don't know how to deal with it. We're not looking for them to fix it for us. That would be great if you could. What we're looking for is 1, acknowledgement that we're going through something. 2, don't run away. 3, honesty with compassion. That's huge. Hi, friend. I know that I see you going through some stuff and I believe that you're amazing and I know that you can get through this. However, today I'm going through a lot and this is a lot for me, but please know that I support you. Something like that. And Guru is like, excellent at that kind of stuff. Like a whole different level, kind of like, yes. Because we know that other people can't fix our problems. We know that we have to figure out a way out most of the time. Also, open your eyes. We also strong people usually can look around and see what to be grateful for. We don't stay there. But the negativity force can be so intense for those people who aren't like us that they don't know how to be present or around us. Don't run if you can help it. You don't have to. You can say to them like, "This is a lot of negativity, and I know that you need that. So I'm just gonna sit next to you." And by acknowledging that, you sort of create this sort of thin like cling film to protect yourself from their negativity, and it's really quite amazing what you're going to see that strong person, how much different their levels change by the time you leave, even in an hour. Even that 10 minutes on the phone of listening to them. If you cannot listen to them, you just tell them. But tell them with compassion. Don't be like, you're fucking negative and I can't stand the fuck you. Like, it can't be that nobody wants to feel that way. And that's really important. Guru's really good at this. And then also, strong people, acknowledge that your friends are trying and that they're not supposed to fix it, that it would be selfish of them.
I was going to say, yeah, this takes like some understanding. If you have a friend that's really like going through some stuff, or you yourself, and they're not at the point where they recognize that like other people aren't going to fix it, because it's
painful for your friends to see.
It's still okay for you to set those boundaries for yourself as like a helper. To be like, I hear you, I have this much time, I can't do this, whatever.
I can't be with you every night this week to listen to you cry. I'm so sorry, but I can offer you Thursday.
Yeah.
And those things become little anchors. That also teaches you good boundaries, but also don't try to take away their struggle. That's selfish, first of all, for you to run around like a sponge, absorbing everyone else's issues and trying to fix it. That is selfish. That is their problem that they need to go through, that they need to work through, that is theirs, not yours.
Yeah, everything you do for somebody else is one less opportunity for them to learn how to manage it.
And so just being present and around in their struggle, allowing them go through that, being helpful when you can without taking something away from them. Because here's the thing, what happens if they have to go through this over and over again because you fixed it?
Yeah.
You're not then helping them. You're causing them future struggle. So these are my words of encouragement, even though that sounded really
heavy.
It is. It's really heavy, but the world is a heavy place.
Yeah.
And so here's some solutions. Here's how you deal with a strong person who is going through a lot, and it's a little bit like trying to help your mom go through something hard. This is a really good way to sort of balance it out, be a wonderful friend, help them, but not fix it for them.
Yeah.
They need this for themselves too in their own way. And if you can fix something, offer it. Allow them to say yes or no. Don't just run around fixing it and being okay. They may need that. I don't know. To each their own, but I'm going to tell you, as someone who's gone through it and has gone through it several times, I am finally at a place where I cannot believe, even in the midst of how awful this is, how incredibly lucky I am and how blessed I am. And it is fucking rough right now.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, friend.
No, I mean, we always do this.
We do
a roller coaster, and that's okay.
I think there's some beauty in this truth.
Yeah.
You will get to the point, where you watch out for yourself and you learn how to, but in watching out for yourself, you then become this like incredible person to other people. And that's what we can offer you. We can offer you life experience, guys.
Let's be more awesome. You're already awesome. Let's be even more awesome.
You are worthy of your own love. You are allowed to rest.
Oh, how about this? This is mine today. Existing is hard, but I'm here with you. Like this, it's hard.
You are enough. How about that one? That one is
That's
this one was last week's. Your feelings are valid.
Oh, that's true.
So whatever you're feeling, it's valid, guys. We love you so much. Thank you for coming in for season 3.
Yay! Welcome back.
You guys, it's gonna be so much fun.
We love you.
Mwah!